we are taking a look at where we stand in the Republican primary for governor. We'll talk polls and strategy with our panel here in a minute. But first, we heard from all 7 candidates recently in a forum hosted by Randall University in Moore. So here they are from the forum in alphabetical order.
As your governor, I will do exactly what I've done over these last 3 years, stand shoulder to shoulder with President Trump, fight against the Biden administration. 18 times we've sued him and defeated him so that government overreach will not come to the shores of Oklahoma. And we'll continue to promote justice, border security, criminal justice, take the battle to the bad guys, putting Oklahoma first, standing with President Trump, who puts America first. And we will do that in education, healthcare, mental health, and partnership with the tribes to bring revenue to Oklahoma so that we can lower taxes.
I'm 100% behind Donald Trump and his policies, and I believe in the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and that comes from ownership of private property. And I will defend that against all evil, like the 8-lane superhighway that's trying to cut through Sapulpa using eminent domain. God told me in 3rd grade that I would be a governor, so I've been anointed. An angel appeared to me in 2023 and said, "Now is the time. Write your plan and get started." In the last 2 years, I've met with 9,700 business owners and 67,000 people.
I served the state during very challenging times, during the Summer of Love in 2020, during George Floyd, where we saw anarchists and rioters and looters coming into our great state. And frankly, we watched a lot of our municipal leadership kneeling with Black Lives Matter instead of enforcing the law. We didn't hesitate, we didn't bend, we didn't break as a state. We activated our state resources, our highway patrol, our National Guard, and we ran that lawlessness out of Oklahoma, and I'm proud of that. We became the model by President Trump of how to deal with civil unrest during that very difficult time in 2020.
I have a mastery in money and finance, and that's the exact skill set we need in the governor's office, because you, the hardworking taxpayers of Oklahoma, have lost billions of dollars due to waste, fraud, abuse, overspending, corporate welfare, green energy nonsense. I am the guy that killed in 2015 the $1.5 billion giveaway to the wind power companies. I fixed the almost bankrupt pension systems, passed lots of tax cuts, and even launched the back-to-school sales tax holiday.
My father told me one simple thing when I started in our business, and that is, son, you'll never be successful in this business unless you first go make someone else successful first. If your customer succeeds, you will do fine. But if your customer fails, you fail. And I see politics and public service very much the same way. Let's go out and set the right environment for families and business to flourish. And to the greatest extent, let's get government out of people's lives.
A well-meaning conservative who was mentoring me said, "We need good men like you in office, but you may have to make some compromises to get there." And I realized at that moment that if I compromise now, I'll be compromised when I sit in that seat. And it will become easier and easier to make compromises to stay there. That's the pattern I saw when I was elected into the Senate to represent District 22, is I saw a pattern of small, not major, but small compromises to do what was right, to stay in a seat, to continue to do good for the state. And I said, that's what's keeping us from being really great.
I don't think you should ever lead out of fear. I believe that our founding fathers, the original 56, if they would have started our country the way our country's been ran the last 4 years, we would not have a country. We must have the resolve to work through the hard things to see our state become the state God has called us to be in this hour. This can only happen with God's guidance. As we approach the celebration of our country's 250th anniversary, I'm reminded of the price that has been paid for us to be in this room tonight.
I'm looking forward to sitting down with all 7 of those GOP candidates for governor here in the weeks to come on Oklahoma Chronicle. But for today, we have a pair of political experts joining us here for the panel this week. We have a pair of political science professors, UCO's Dr. Brett Sharp. Nice to have you back with us here, Brett. And also from the University of Oklahoma, poli-sci professor Dr. Melody Huckabee-Rowlett. Thanks for being back here as well.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to put up right away, there was a poll from an independent pollster, this Pat McFerrin's group, CHS and Associates. Let's throw this up on the screen, guys, and let's leave this up here really quick for a little bit. So this was February 9th. This was, you don't see Kenneth Sturgill, Lisa Mitchell Haynes' names on here, but here's the other 5. Gintner Drummond, the current Attorney General, right now with 36%. Then you got Charles McCall at 14, Mike Mazie at 13, Chip Keating at 13, Jake Merrick at 5%. So according to this, there's 3 in a statistical, really just tied for second at this point. And when it talks, and I'm asking you guys about what the strategy is at this point, really it's all about just finish first or second, right? That's what it's all about in this June primary with so many candidates on the ballot.
That's absolutely true. And of course, the one thing that gets you into that second position is name recognition.
Right.
And so that's the very first thing. And so you see all of the ads for Mike Mazie that's really kind of making a difference. He's gone up in the polls.
Right. Mike Mazie he was much lower in the polls back in November. He's made a big jump. If we want to talk winners and losers, I think in that he has to be considered one of the big winners. Brett, what are you seeing with this?
You're seeing kind of 2 phases of the race just for this initial primary, and that is who's going to be the front runner. And looks like Drummond really has been that all along, and this poll just kind of validates that.
Does being the current office holder, holding office currently, being in the news a lot, does that help? I mean, being the Attorney General, it's a high-profile job.
Exactly, and he can time things, like he did. Recently had the stuff with the marijuana growers and out of state. He can time things to release that and hold press conferences, and a lot of the other ones, they can just talk about what they've done in the past, and so there is a power of incumbency. Plus, he's ran a statewide race, which is no small thing.
Right.
So he's got that going on.
McCall has his own polls, and in his own polls, he is doing better than what we're seeing here from this CHS and Associates poll from Pat McFerrin. But in this poll, does the McCall campaign have to be not happy with what they're seeing, being in that statistical dead heat with Chip Keating and Mike Mazie?
That's not a great place to be. Right, and especially
You're vulnerable
because
at that
back in October he was leading, and so former Speaker of the House in Oklahoma, he has a lot of name recognition too. But it seems like that is sliding away, and so you kind of wonder about what strategy he's using to put himself in the news right now to be out there.
We talked about ads. He's been running just as many ads as Mike Mazie has. His ads, and he's been running ads from multiple angles. His own campaign, the first one, Brett, we talked about it.
The
banana ad, the famous banana ad. The more recent one was all about Sharia law and stuff he did when he was Speaker of the House.
In this scramble for second, any kind of viral moment, that's going to be a plus. No matter how controversial, and McCall's kind of proven he can do that.
Right.
So it really is kind of a jump ball at this point for that second place.
Is June? That's when the primary is. Is June a far way away in this campaign, or is it right around the corner?
I think it's a long way away.
I do too. Well, I think a lot can happen.
Right.
Really the week before a lot can happen.
Right.
Because again, that viral moment, right?
Yeah.
Whoever can.
Or if somebody stumbles.
Right, either one. But if somebody can capitalize on a moment, right? Be in a place at a time, be the symbol for that,
And Gintner Drummond, being in the lead, that's, I guess, the place to be. But you're also kind of dangerous there because you're in danger because the other 3 or they're
going to target you?
Yeah, exactly. So if they all start gelling together and working together to bring down the front runner.
So every single candidate in this GOP primary, they are all very pro-Trump from everything that I can tell. And so nobody has distanced themselves to present like I'm an alternate view. Would that be unwise in this type of primary if you are trying to differentiate yourself? Is the Oklahoma Republican primary not the place to do that?
Well, President Trump is over 19 points, right? In terms of he's up in terms of approval by 19 points. So in Oklahoma, he's popular. At the same time, you know, I think you can differentiate yourself from President Trump on issues, because just because he's popular doesn't mean all of the policies of his administration are popular in Oklahoma.
What's the game plan, and what should voters expect to see in the months leading up to June? At a certain point, does the race kick into an extra gear?
Well, one thing I don't think you'll see is them going against Trump at all. I saw this Civics release. They've been doing surveys since the beginning of the Trump administration. And if you see the map, it's amazing. Normally the South is red, and a lot of the northern states are red, and it's not. It's just Oklahoma is second only to West Virginia in terms of Trump's popularity. So I think that what we won't see is any distancing from Trump during the primary.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. Join us also online, because I want to ask you guys a question about what a Governor Stitt endorsement would mean in this race. You can find that online anywhere you find us: YouTube, our website, our app, all of that. Thank you so much, Brett Sharp, Melody Rowlett. Nice having you here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.